So my gimbal rig right now is so massive that I can't even fit it into frame. Why is that? Well, I actually have two different cameras stacked and mounted onto my gimbal. Now, before you bash me in the comments, I'll explain why and how I was able to do this on this gimbal. But before we get into that, I do want to let you know that Zhiyun has released a bunch of new accessories for the new Crane 2S gimbal. And if you don't know anything about the Crane 2S gimbal, definitely check out my review video for it because there's a lot of new upgrades on this gimbal. Now, first in the line of new accessories that Zhiyun just released is the new follow focus motor. This motor has more torque, less latency, and much more accuracy. For example, if I want to do mild adjustments with my focus, you can see that it doesn't jitter like the previous version of this motor did. We also have an auto calibration option. When pressed down, it will automatically calibrate the motor so that way you have digital hard stops. So that way you can't over torque your lens or your follow focus gear. Let me quickly show you how to set this thing up. First things first, you're gonna need your riser plate that came with your gimbal. Attach it to your camera and then attach it to your quick release plate. Now attach the follow focus gear ring. Next, attach the supporting bracket for the follow focus motor to your quick release plate. Depending on the size of your lens or your camera, you can use either the left or right side. Tighten up the screw and then slip on the follow focus motor onto the rail system. Then press up the motor against the gear ring on your lens. Make sure the teeth line up. After that, connect the necessary cables. Now you will have full power to the follow focus motor. You will instantly notice that it's much smoother, more accurate, and provides more torque, and it overall looks better than the previous generation of this motor. Now let's talk about the Transmount Image Transmission System. It provides up to 1080p resolution with 30 frames per second. Now, this is not only an image transmission system, but it also carries on your camera's data to not only your gimbal, but if you're using a wireless remote to create that motion control on your gimbal, you definitely need this transmission system to make all of that work. Just keep that in mind. If you want to learn how to install the image transmission system, just check out one of my tutorial videos right here where I show you how to do the same exact thing with the 1.0 version. Next up, we have the attachment arm for the Crane 2S. This allows you to hold the Crane 2S similar to that of the Crane 3S and the Weeble S gimbal. It has an adjustable arm allowing you to go from the up position to the down position. On top of that, we have a cold shoe mount at the top of the handle and multiple quarter 20-inch ports for your accessories. To attach this to your gimbal, open up the bracket and secure it against the collar of the gimbal. Make sure that the grooves on the gimbal match up to the grooves on the bracket. Then secure it and make sure it's good and tight. And that's about it. You can see the huge benefit that you get just from having this simple handle. And finally, we have the top camera mount bracket. This allows you to attach another camera on top of the other camera that you have mounted on your gimbal. So I know what you're asking. What's the point of this rig? Well, you can use two different focal lengths at the same time, especially if you want both focal lengths to have the same resolution. For example, I can have my top camera with a 24mm lens, and I can have the lower camera with an 85mm lens. So instead of getting less resolution by digitally cropping in, you'll get two crispy shots shot at different focal lengths. And you can also get two different frame rates for these cameras. One camera can shoot at 24 frames per second, while the other one can shoot at, let's say, 120 frames per second. And to install this bracket, it's really easy. All we have to do is slip it onto the vertical mount, make sure it snaps right into place, then tighten it up. Then make sure your other camera has a quick release plate and slip it onto the bracket. Then tighten it up. Don't forget, you are going to have to do some major rebalancing of your gimbal when you attach a second camera. Don't forget that when you're adding a second camera to your rig, you're also adding a ton of extra weight. So an arm like this is a great thing to have, especially if you want to shoot for longer periods of time with heavier rigs. And those are the new accessories for the Crane 2S. If you're interested, check out the links for them down below in the description box. And I'll see you guys in another video. Peace!